Hello, hello. It's the Ancestors Advocate, and in this video, I wanted to go through all the 20 beautiful day signs of the Mayan calendar, also known as the Tzolkin Cycle. The Tzolk'in Cycle is a cycle of 260 days, in which, in which each one of the 20 day signs has an opportunity to be dominant for a period of 13 days. And this 13-day period is called a trecana. So I will be explaining in brief the meaning, significance, and energetic qualities of each of those signs according to their sequence within the Tzolk'in 260-day cycle. I'm coming from a point of view of having spent a little over one full cycle paying very close attention to the energies as they come into prominence within their short seasons, paying attention to the energy of the crocodile, jaguar, dog, seed, etc., all of them. I'm pretty much taking a back seat and being saturated in their presence and quality. So it is from that point of view that I come from that perspective, from that place. Without further ado, let us get into it. And so the first day sign in the cycle of the Tzolk'in is Crocodile. Crocodile has this quality of newness, or almost like a need to birth something new into this existence or this world. Almost like a need to start a new project or start a new, there's this newness that's in, or to renew oneself maybe. I remember this Tzolk'in cycle, we went to the beach when Crocodile began and we had a good time in the ocean. The energy of Crocodile is also connected to the deep primordial waters as well, and oceans are a good symbol and also element for that too. Crocodile, Trecana, aside from this energy of birthing anew, there's also it's a good time for meditativeness if one wants to go into meditation as well, or if one wants to pay attention to states of mental health as well. That can also come into prominence during the Crocodile Trecana because mental health is very important. Mental sanity. As much as you can have birthings of inspiration, there can also be birthings of mental instability, or let's say arisings of, mental instability, if we're going to use a simple term here. Because inspiration and insanity can spring, they're like two sides of the same coin, in a way. So those are a few things I can say about the qualities of Crocodile, as far as they can generally be experienced within its 13-day period. So moving on from Crocodile, we have the Jaguar. And the essence of the Jaguar is, it's very mysterious. It's one that likes to pull people away from the usual actions they are used to doing as they participate in society, as they participate in work and that sort of thing. It pulls people more towards restfulness, towards their center, their core. It is definitely time to honor nature, Mother Nature, and tend to her, pay attention to how we treat her, of course. Pay attention to the environment. Environmental matters are definitely important. And also to the feminine and to women. And not just women, but also the overall feminine aspects of life. Um, because we can be very much locked down in our routine, habitual ways of thinking and doing. And Jaguar is that almost the call of the spirit, that snatches people from that. And there can tend to be mysterious happenings during the Jaguar season because it is almost like spirit being empowered to um, influence, to make its mark within, within existence, within the world, within reality. So it is also a time to pay attention to any mysterious things that are happening and to pay attention to the subtleties of life. I will put it that way. To the unseen undercurrents that also drive existence, because it's not just our power to do this or to do that, that in our thoughts and actions that move our experience in this world, but Jaguar Trecana also brings about the undercurrent of life, the unknown, the dark, the life force within that which we cannot see, like the earth, the life force within nature, the life force within existence itself, which is even much more bigger, much more massive, right? That also moves this whole existence and is the very energy that we even have to sit, talk, breathe, and do all those things. So that is Jaguar. Jaguar Jaguar it's very beautiful. It is also my day sign, so I definitely love it. It has this attractive darkness to it. It also holds the wisdom of earthly spells and use of herbs and plant medicines as well, because it's very much tied to the plant animal kingdom and realm of reality. But it draws people deeper into their hearts, deeper into the very core of who they are, outside of the influence of ego, society, outside of the influence of conditioning. Just draws people out of those things and deeper and deeper and deeper into the true self, the core, the untamed, rather, the wild. It's the influence that Jaguar energy has. Whether one is receptive to it or not, whether one fights or wrestles against it or not, that's up to them. Whether one wants to swim upstream or go with the stream and be conscious of the influence and even take advantage of it, if I can use that phrase. Although there's nothing that's really taken, it's all just received. So that is a Jaguar. Moving on, we have... Oh my goodness, I'm already at 9 minutes. Okay, moving on. We have the energy of the deer. The deer Trecana comes after Jaguar. And deer is... If Jaguar is the most feminine of the day signs, then deer energy is the most masculine of the day signs. There is a quality of being able to speak more boldly and courageously from one's heart, from one's own authentic self. There is also the quality of respect, self-respect, and respect for others as well. There is a sense of this masculine assertiveness that is reserved but still very much present. almost like a pillar of presence or energy within oneself. That is like deer. It is. It is as I said it. uh, Usually at the end of the deer Trecana, it's always this respect that comes to me. Respect, like I said, for the other and for self. It's like this acknowledgement of one's own existence within the reality of things and also the existence of the other. And to honor that, you know. It's a very quiet energy. It's not, sometimes when people think about masculine, they think aggression, but not, this is not what deer is, even though deer is the most masculine of the tones. It's very much deeply rooted and planted, and there's like a discipline, an untaught discipline to it. It is, and it's like sense. It's very sensible, like a very sensible way of being. But very briefly, I can put it in words like respect, honor, and speaking one's truth from learning to speak one's truth from that place of authenticity. And when I say from authenticity, is simply speaking things about yourself or about situations or presenting them as they are without shivering, you know, without shivering. It's also a time to sort of uncover the. Actually, I'm not go there. It's not that. What I said is enough. So after the energy of deer, and before I move on, last one thing I want to say is the deer does have a simplicity to it. I've experienced the Tracana with attention twice, so one cycle and then the other cycle, and there is this feeling that it's quite simple. It's not complicated. Even to talk about it, it's not many words, just a few. Just a few do it. Okay. After deer we have light or aha or the sun. This is a very beautiful time. It's one of my favorite trecanas in the calendar. Um, Ahau, I like to use the Yucatan word for it. Ahau is, it's like the light of spiritual illumination. It is like being touched by life and the source of life, and it is being touched by that which inspires poetry, inspires science, inspires uh, the desire within a spiritual seeker to seek the divine. That is light. That is aha. That is light. That is the qualities of the sun energy within the context of the Tzolk'in and Maya. Don't start making associations with other concepts out there from other systems, whatnot. I'm speaking very strictly about the Maya calendar and the energies within the Tzolk'in. And how is very beautiful. It's my favorite. It's also one that can empower people to double down on their visions and goals in life, or to have another look at what they set their goals on and see if that's really what they wanted to pursue and things like that. But there's definitely this energy that is very supportive for people who want to work to achieve something, or who are seeking something, or who have a vision that they want to materialize in the world. And that same quality of vision, you can take it back to being touched by the very source of life in one way or another, seeing the light of all things, if I can use that phrase, and being energized with so much inspiration and passion and romance for existence and the divine. It's a very sweet time for that. It's also why it's connected to the poets and the singers and the dancers, those that are saturated with the touch of the divine and want to find ways to express it in art and in beauty and any way that they can, any outlet that they can find. It's a good time for artists too. So that is light. And after the Trecana of light, we have we have the day sign of Cain. So the Trecana of Cain comes, and Cain or reed, it's like a masculine energy, but it's more fatherly, right? It's the fatherly presence. You know, in society, Father's Day is like not that much respected as a holiday, but within the cycles of energy that permeate existence, it is very much respected there. It has its place. And during the Trecana of Cain or reed, one thing I've noticed is that father issues come out quite a bit. Issues that may be deep seated within the human psyche or system that are there because of, for example, an absent father, abusive father, lack of a father, whatever, matters pertaining to the quality and presence or absence of a father or how they were. They tend to rise up. You tend to see how they may have affected how you are in life. But anything that is significant within your life that has any association with the fatherhood energy or father figure energy, it comes into play, comes into prominence, and that's one way I can express the energy of Cain and its Trecana. And it's a good time to honor fathers. It's a good time to meditate on them, respect them, give thanks to them, and appreciate their presence, because in this Trecana you do realize the impact that, again, their presence or their absence or the way that they are has on our lives. So that is Cain. The Trecana after Cain is death. And death is quite a transformative period. These 13 days of death, sometimes it's a bit tricky to explain because it might feel like neither here nor there. Death energy is always almost like a swivel door in between realities, so to speak. It's this swivel door between almost like the current way of things and a new way of things that may be trying to emerge. There is this sense of spontaneity there, or a feeling of acting in a spontaneous way. In a sense, there's an openness to new possibilities or to transform ways of doing things. Being open to doing something completely and entirely new in one's life, It is a period where one can allow themselves to experiment and be spontaneous. Just look around and allow yourself to move beyond limited conditioning, move beyond constraints or restraints of the ego mind, or what, let's say, the mind sets, because when a mind is set, you don't like to move outside its box, let's put it that way. So this death period is a good time to come back to life, right? It's quite ironic because when people hear death, they usually think of the negative connotations associated with that word, but the death Trecana is almost like a come back to life or come back to spontaneity, sort of like how children have that natural spontaneity still within them intact. So that is the death Trecana, briefly put. It's also a time to be mindful of illnesses and sicknesses as well, and you can say pray for healing from sicknesses or to keep sicknesses away from us, because illnesses do have some association with the death energy too, at least within the system of the Maya energies and the Tzolk'in. And after death we have storm. Storm is storm energy is very much connected to the family. it's very family oriented, and it's like doing things from the point of view of, let me not put it that way, but there is the significance of family influence, whether that is family helping you or you helping your family, or the family coming together, or the family sensing the issues and needs of one another, of each of its members. Family sentiments or familial sentiments, tend to rise up during this time. It is also, it can also be a season where um, people just get into work, and let me put it in the right way, in the right context. People usually work, and what keeps them going to work, or what helps that effort that people put into work, is the family bond and the family ties. Family makes all the work of life pretty much worth it, because you're supporting the structures of humanity from the family level to even the society, community level, and even the societal level, right? And that consciousness of family is like a good reminder about why we work, why we do what we do, and in a sense, it puts things into perspective. And it also allows for that inner strength to continue carry on with the work one needs to do in their life, even when it gets difficult. That is how I can describe storm energy, but it's very much familial, very much of family, and matters of family, matters of, we could even say, midwifery, pregnancy, birth, raising of children, family centric values or themes. That is, and it can be expressed very differently in different families, because every family is a bit different and they go through different things at different times. So it's not easy to just say, it's just going to be this way in family in Storm Trecana when it comes for everybody, because different families got different, have different social contexts of events, happening all the time. So that's that for Storm Trecana. And after Storm, we get to, oh, this is one of my favorite, the Trecana of Road, or it's called Ebb in Yucatan, or the Trecana of the Human. This is one of my favorite Trecanas because it is such a beautiful receptive time. The system becomes very receptive, so meditating and road Trecana feels like the best to me. I really enjoyed it. It's so easy to just think and be receptive to energies that support and reward meditation. I had a really good time. I almost like, it was hard to just not meditate because I would just get into it and I would feel so peaceful and so beautiful, and it's just wonderful. Um, and oh my goodness, I hope I'm not speaking too much from a subjective point of view. The road Tricana, it's, in one way, it can highlight issues of the journey of life, but there is generally a receptive quality to road. Think of a person who travels and goes to another country or another place in the world and sees a whole different tribe of people, a whole different culture, and is just absorbing the different foods and the different languages and the different ways that people live and talk and dance. You're in this state of just, learning and absorbing and seeing and, knowing life through movement, through travel, through exposure, through exposing yourself and being open to so many things that previously were so outside of your experiences and your points of views and understandings, right? You're just absorbed in so many new flavors of life, and you're there and you're receptive to it all. You know, road energy does drive people to be explorative. I mean, explorative. You know, to explore. You know, and they can become very great storytellers. They can be very good people to understand the human condition, who understand other people, who are able to understand other people's characters and points of view and why they do things because of this receptivity and openness that they have. And they do love to move about a lot. They do like to travel, and they may even enjoy doing missionary. Let me not say missionary, but work that supports the well-being of humanity. You know, even to volunteer into certain projects, right? But it's very sweet, receptive time. Road is one of my favorite Trecanas. So I was doing a lot of meditation because it's this sense of you're just able to absorb. You know, who knows? You might even absorb the entire cosmos in Road Trecana. So yeah, that's the beauty and the strength that road energy can give. This sense of being able to absorb and be open. Moving on from that, what do we have? We have Serpent. We have the Trecana of the Serpent. Serpent Trecana is that Serpent is connected to body wisdom. Not just that, but matters of the health of the body, matters of in a way it's like, nah, if I say that, it may not be very quickly noticeable by people. Serpent energies can be tricky to talk about. It can be tricky to talk about. But it's something that it's like it advocates for the physical body. It advocates for the body. It's a good time to take care of one's body, to take care of one of the material aspect or the material dimension of one's existence. And when I say material, I'm referring to the body, right? I'm not referring to your car or your house. That's not your existence. That's your accessory. Okay, I'm talking about your very being. Let me rephrase that. The material dimension of one's being. Okay, to be more specific, because some of y'all gonna take this the wrong way. So, and not just the body, but how it's being used, why you use it. There's a sense of knowing that life is more than just your bloody 9 to 5. Life is more than just work. You know, there's a sense of, because it's almost like the body being able to sort of inquire into why it's not really like that though. That's not the right analogy. That's a cop out for me. Like I said, it's kind of tricky to explain serpent energy. Serpent people know this. They intuitively, like, because it's in them, they know the experience. But to speak on it as far as the Tracanics came through, there's like this electrifying energy, this lightning in the blood, this coyopa, as they would say in Mayan. This lightning in the blood is like the life force within the body, within the cells, coming alive, you know. It's that which is within a human being that makes them conscious, and conscious enough to even reflect about their own existence and their own actions and ponder what is the source of life, what is the source of creation. That is serpent energy. And it's a good time to remember that this energy of consciousness is within the very cells of the body, within the blood, within the human system, you know. And like Jaguar, it also has a subtle way of pulling people deeper right? If one is able to catch on to it, it may not be as magnetic a pull as Jaguar Trecana is, but there definitely is um, a redirection of attention towards the source within one's being. You know, there's definitely that happening. Also, one may feel a bit more in the body, more in tune with the body, or let's say more in the body. Whether they're in tune with the body or not, that depends on how they're living, how they're behaving, how they use the body. But there is this, being conscious of the body, being conscious of what one does with the body. You know, that is definitely, that rises to the surface during Serpent Tricana. And even the power of this inner life force within the system can be also more available to people, especially people that lend their attention into that area of their being. So that is a Serpent Tricana. I'm glad I was able to wrap it up nicely in the end because it was quite a tricky one for me to go back and try to put words to it. After Serpent Tricana, we had the Tricana of Edsnab, the obsidian mirror or knife, or is it the obsidian knife? Whatever. It's knife, it's the mirror. This Tricana deals with proper form and structure, and it deals with truth. It deals with. It can bring a consciousness of almost like respecting form and function, doing things in the right way, or being able to. There's this. Should I go there? Let me go there. All right. It allows the mind to enhance its abilities of compartmentalization, where things are less entangled, and you're able to see the way things operate better or more efficiently. Clearly, the ability to see the way that things can operate efficiently, that becomes heightened. So this is a great time for shadow work. It's a great time to go within, to investigate one's minds, one's actions, one's speech, and see where they're coming from, because it offers a power to help you untangle or disentangle things, or see yourself clearly, see why you do certain things or move a certain way, or why this person, that person, etc. It just makes things clear, like a mirror. It helps to reflect things back to you, to your mind, the way they are, not according to the confusions of biases or um, wanting to hold on to certain patterns of thought. It allows you to disentangle and not get entangled. So there is a stronger possibility for that kind of quality during the tricana of the knife or the mirror. And because of this integrity, when I say integrity, what I mean by that word is for something to be able to retain its structure, form, and quality against the possible or apparent friction of outside circumstances, right? Where for something to remain as it is, regardless of what is happening around it, that is integrity. So the integrity of, let's say, the body, or let's say the integrity of, the structure of the bones or the skeletal system. Because if the skeletal system was to become misaligned, first of all, it would freaking hurt. Also, you wouldn't be able to move because the muscles have to be flexible or have to be able to bend. Almost every other part of the body needs to be able to bend, but the skeletal system needs to be rigid, needs to maintain its form, right? Think about something like yoga, or even sitting properly with proper posture. Or when you go to a dentist and they look at your teeth, they try to arrange them according to proper positions, placement, whatever. It's this sense of proper form, proper posture, so that things can be stable again, right? That is what the knife Trecana brings, the stability that comes out of proper posture and proper form and efficient use of different faculties of one's being, and to be able to, see things clearly. That, whew, I'm proud I said that. I'm proud I went through that pretty okay. Because knife like serpent is, knife can be a bit tricky to describe sometimes. But those are some of the qualities of knife energy. And what comes after knife? We have, I gotta look back here and see what it is. Oh, monkey. Monkey is also a great time. Monkey is a lot of times associated with the inner child. Monkey is we can say it's also a time like with, if Cain is a season, or a season to remember the significance of fathers in our life, then Monkey Trecana is also a great time to remember the beauty and significance of children in our lives, in our families, in our communities. If they get a chance, I mean, there's Father's Day, there's Mother's Day, but there is no like Children's Day, unless you go to Africa. There's Watoto Africa Day, which is African Child Day. I think it's someday in the summer. But anyway, that one has a sad backstory to it anyway. But within these cycles of different expressions of consciousness within the creation and the cosmos, we do have this monkey energy that does celebrate the divine inner child, or children in general. And I find that to be beautiful, that existence, celebrates children, even though society is too dumb to put a holiday for children or take care of children in a better way. Let me not go into a rant, okay? But in this period of time, matters of one's childhood may come to the surface, and you might see the significant play that one's childhood may have had on life. One may feel more inclined to get into more creative things, more they may be more curious or investigative of different aspects of life, sort of like how a child is when they start to explore things, May have that childlike sense of exploration that is available, or encouraged in this child Trecana time. And I feel like the child Trecana is a very sweet period, and it's better to just not say that much about it, but allow a person to experience it, because it does, it does have elements of the inner child connected to it. It's very beautiful. I think I should just let people know that it exists, and when it comes around, they just get into it as they like. All right, moving on from the child Trecana, we have seed. Now, okay, after seed we have earth. So the seed Trecana, this one, people can sometimes end up doing too much. People can feel empowered to go into action, but they can almost feel a little too empowered, and they start to feel like they need to do more and more and more and more and more. It's almost like the desired body, or the desire, let me say the desired body is sort of brought to light, and one can see, different levels of how conscious they're behaving or how compulsive they're behaving. And it can also be raise a mirror to the significance of one taking on a spiritual path, because they realize that they need help. They realize it's a good time to see where one's actions are coming from, and if the actions are done in proper measure, or if they are done out of a deeper hunger that they are yet to realize, which again is why I said they may realize the significance of going into taking a spiritual path, or realizing the significance of meditation and spirituality in their life. In this seed Trecana, there is a risk of getting caught up in the net of activities. You can also say the net of karma. The one can realize how actions in life, if not done correctly, can cause traps for them. So one may get caught up in the trap that is laid for them by actions of the past, or being caught up with having to wanting to be in control of things too much. So it's a really good time to pay attention to the way that one behaves in the world, and it is also a reminder of the significance of surrender, and not simply of just ego will, or not simply to just gather more things, or to shop for more things, or do more things, or even to take more yoga classes, or because even people who are spiritually inclined can get a little excited in this time. They might feel like, I gotta do more of this, gotta do more of that. It's almost like a form of insanity. And it can expose people once there's a certain release of energy, how people would go about using that energy, or the ability to recognize, you know, um, how to better hold that energy within them, or what is it that is inside them that they are truly seeking, right? So it's definitely another great opportunity for people to go within, or recognize the significance of going within themselves, and also to learn to do actions from the right place. After seed Trecana comes earth Trecana. And the Trecana of earth, if seed was about doing too much, then earth can be about thinking too much. Getting pulled into the nostalgia of the past, or catapulted into dreams, fantasies, and visions of the future, right? It's this, the mental plane can take on more of a prominence during the earth Tricana. It's also the time to, it's a good time to, share ideas, share groundbreaking ideas, share what kind of things have been processing within people's minds. It's definitely, um, you can say it's definitely all about the mind. It's definitely all about the conceptual mind, and the significance and beautiful fruits of the conceptual mind. At the same time, there is also the danger of being too conceptual, being too trapped in the thoughts. So proper measure should be there too, but the mental faculties, let's say, it's a great time to explore mental faculties. It's also a great time to learn things and gain knowledge as well. So within the Earth Tricana, because those things are empowered in a certain way, one can see how they like to play around with those things too. And after the Earth Tricana, we have, what do we have? We have dog. This year dog Tricana was a bit difficult for me. Dog Tricana, dog deals with the attitude of playfulness, the attitude of being a good sport, going through life with a light heart, a light, playful attitude. But it also has the other side of a sensitivity to justice and authority, and these themes can come into play in life and in society. Um, yeah, it can also be a time where one feels like they need to protect what they love. Depending on the situation, if something unjust has happened. My story is that the trees in my neighborhood all got cut down because there was some kind of construction they were doing to, restore the creek, blah, blah, blah. I didn't like it. A lot of the neighbors did not like it. I felt very hurt by what had happened. And so, and that being the tricana of the dog, matters of justice, like I was really feeling that in my heart, and it was not easy to go through that time. Yeah, and these tricanas, they affect not just individuals, but the energy of the tricana permeates through all of existence, and it can take on different sorts of expressions. So whenever these tricanas come, it is a chance for us to be more conscious of what is happening. understand the added sensitivity to different aspects of life, and to move with care and consciousness, and not out of, you know, not out of patterns of the past or old ways of thinking. It's really um, calls a person to be very much here and now, and a lot of times you realize you don't necessarily know what posture to take in life or how to approach something. So what happens is that you end up surrendering to the heart, to the soul, which is the true authority of one's being, the true master within, and the true authority of life itself. And the doctrine kind of is also about trying to identify what is real authority and what is the real master. But the authority is truth itself. Truth is the authority. Authority does not decide what truth is, but truth itself is the authority, and that is that is a Trecana of dog. And after dog, we have night. The Trecana of night. This one, do I know? Am I ready to talk about the Trecana of night? It's a period of time when the subjective realm of one's being may be felt more. There's two sides of, I guess, how we find ourselves in this life. There's the objective reality, which is the world outside of us, which is, the material things you gotta take care of. And then there is the subjective realm of life, which is inwards. And this can carry things from our thoughts and our feelings and our questions and just our personal experience of things and the personal view of things and just the personal feelings, the inward, what we carry within. And it's also in this Trecana of night an opportunity to dive deeper into those things, to investigate those things. And sometimes we might see things from more of a subjective point of view as well. That can also tend to happen in the night Trecana. I may not be very good at being able to explain the night Trecana right now also. Try to pay attention to it when it came. But I think for now that is the best that I can say about night Trecana. I may have to probably wait for another cycle or wait for night day to come. And it's very funny because today is also night day. I may have to go back and when the Trecana comes again, pay more attention and see what happens. I will lastly say that there are sentiments of family and romance and love and lovers, within the Trecana of night. That is also part of the soup that makes the night Trecana, but outside of that, I cannot say more. I should move on now to the one that comes after night, which is Owl Trecana. Owl Trecana is I like it. It's more restful period. There's this sense of added restfulness that seems to dawn on the earth and among people. If you're open to it. If people want to be going to more of a relaxed, slowed down, just more restfulish mode of being, that's completely fine. It's completely welcome. It's part of what the Owl Trecana brings. It's also a good time to just, it's almost like a grandparent just kicking back on their rocking chair and chilling. It's also a time when the mind may be very much open to learning new things, especially things to do with folk tale, historical tales, things to do with research, understanding past, understanding the generational context in which we live in, the generations before us, and thinking about the significance of what we are actually going to carry to the generation after us, what we allow them to inherit. But generally it's like a slowdown and a more of a contemplative period. I think that's the word I was looking for too. It's an ambient space for contemplation. I'll put it that way. So that's the what you can find in Trecana. Also, the significance of ancestors too can be felt a bit more because it does also deal with the energy of the elderly, the grandfathers, the grandmothers, and those that have passed away. So the ancestral tone can also be, it can have its significance in this Tricana as well. And after owl, we have water. So the energy of water, qualities of water. Let me think. Do I know how to describe water well? Water is this immersive feeling, but also it can sometimes feel elusive. It can sometimes feel like you don't know it's there. You don't know what's happening. It's because think about clear water, right? And being able to see yourself underwater and other people. Or no, let me think about it. Let me use a different example. Think about the receptivity of water. It's almost like when the energy of water comes, it's receptive to humanity as it is. So it's almost like it's not really. It may feel this illusion that it's not really encouraging anything new, or pronouncing anything new as such. In a sense, it's, if anything, it's like one may have a chance. It's like when essence of water comes, it sort of like dissolves and just immerses itself with what's already here. And if one is open to that quality of water, one can also simply dissolve like water into the environment. I'm not sure if I should use that term. Let me help bring a bit more light to what I'm saying. The water energy is connected to the essence of enlightenment and enlightened beings who have a state of cosmic unity. For them, they have simply like dissolved into, that's already here, like water, like salt in the water, or how water is just so receptive to so many different, you can mix so many different things into water. So it's like, when other day signs have their trecanas and they come on, you feel very strongly their quality. When the water trecana comes, it's almost like, it's very subtle. It's still in it. It's still quite subtle. It's almost as if it is receptive of us. That's why sometimes it can be tricky to sort of pinpoint some of its aspects. I will say though that water there is this, as far as the day sign is concerned, this need for things to be balanced out within society and among people, a spiritual balancing of accounts, of subtle spiritual energies, right? You could say, if we can use the phrase, no, I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that. Things being energetically correct is important in the time of water. Things like you offended or really hurt someone, or you made this transgression, you're trying to avoid that, that will not fly in water trecana. Things have to become or be made into a more harmonious state. Water sign is something, water energy very much respects energy and the state of energy without opposing the reality of what's going on. Because some people, they tend to turn a blind eye towards things that happen because they're difficult to deal with. Water, because it's so receptive, it accepts things. It also seeks to make things level, like how water always seeks its own level and seeks to maintain equilibrium. Um, the energy of water um, can inspire within us the need to create equilibrium in energy within the family and community and society to balance these accounts and make things right. The importance of things being energetically correct is important, and it is, you can say it is the message and essence of the water energy: harmony, balance, tranquility. So hear the wisdom of the water and the intense fire that is within the subtlety and gentleness of the water. After the energy of water, we have the trecana of wind. And wind is this time where we reflect. There is this need almost in wind for our actions and our speech to be impactful, to have or to create impact in the world with our words and with our actions. There's a sense of taking responsibility for things that are wrong, for things that need to be changed, for things that need help. There's a sense of personal responsibility, this, being the change you want to see kind of thing, and not waiting around for anyone else. There's a sense of, if you want some certain things to improve, even in your life, then you gotta come out of the feeling of, or don't get lost in the feeling of being hurt or being a victim to circumstances. And the wind energy can actually be very empowering for people to step out of that and take initiative, to take initiative and move into action and create the impact they want to create. Wind energy is very supportive in helping people get out of, their own rut, or getting out of even rock bottom, for example. Wind energy can also, on the flip side, cause people to compulsively try to be too impactful, or try to be very assertive in life, because through their actions and speech, because unconsciously they're really just trying to feel themselves. And they think by the things that they do and say and the way that they impose themselves on existence and reality, they can find that the true impact for within is one's own presence. Presence is like one's existential impact. It's already here and now. It's already radiating. Don't really need to do anything. Don't need to say anything. It is like a little secret, and it's a tricky and very subtle thing that one can easily miss when they get into this wind energy. The most powerful impact can simply be one's own presence and one's own availability, like one's own here and now-ness. Because here and now you are a particular fragrance that is pulsating and spreading within this creation. You're a particular, this existence, you're this piece of life. And that is your existential impact within the here and now. Actions and speech, they can be done according to what is needed, according to the situation, scenarios, and circumstances, within right measure. But this perpetual impact that is always on comes from one's own presence. And it's also important to know that, to recognize the significance of one's own presence. And that is qualities of the energy of wind. After wind, we have the last two trecanas, which are eagle and rabbit. So eagle energy, this one, Hmm. It's more laid back. You know, it's very supportive to the final lesson of wind energy, which is to remember one's own presence. And eagle energy, it's like gliding through the wind. It's like you actually finally learn to fly in the air, and you know this feeling of just being able to float through the days, float through life. You know, just the way that an eagle or a hawk, well, it is eagle, right? So the way that an eagle will spread its wings and just glide, not flapping. No more need for too much action. Just glide through the current that you are moving through. Glide through the days you're moving through. Glide through the moments. I think that is one of eagles. One of the wisdom of eagle just learning how to glide and even to change direction. It's like this intuitive thing that it's you moving with your environment kind of thing. You know, there's a unity to your movements now. There's this. It's a very subtle dance between you and the events of the day and the way that life is sort of arranging itself. Also, as much as you may arrange things in your life also has its currents, and you are just feeling easy and you're gliding through. Eagle reminds us that that is also something. Well, let me put it this way: within the season of the eagle, that becomes more prominent. You know, to sort of take things easy and glide, and it also helps to there can be a sense of broadening one's perspective just outside of individual action or individual self-importance or significance, and sort of being more attentive to the grand scheme of things as well, which also puts one at ease, the ease needed to, let's say, the psychological ease needed to rest into that gliding through the days and gliding through life. And that is what I can say about the eagle Trecana and some of the qualities that arise in the time. And the last day sign Trecana is rabbit. And rabbit is all about a beautiful sense of harmony. It's all about harmony and the multiplication of. I remember I wrote it down one day for my friend. I wrote it down and it was so clear and it was so beautiful. I wish I had saved it somewhere so I could just read back what I wrote. Because right now I'm gonna have to swim within my mind and my heart to pull out what I had written down. But it was so clear and it was so beautiful. It had something to do with authenticity and coming from the heart and moving from one's own heart and realizing that that creates the true harmony in life, because when you move from the heart you move from the most honest place within you, the most truthful place within you, the most in harmony part of you. Well, aside from the soul, I guess. But the heart also has this integrity of, soulful grace and presence, and people want to be honest with themselves and, go into their inner truths. They go into the heart, they go into the soul. So to allow our actions and thoughts and our movement in this world to come from that place, it's almost like the lessons of wind and eagle are sort of, setting us up, preparing us, putting us into a state to recognize wisdom. When after the eagle Trecana, we are sort of gliding through and learn to take things easy. Now we're in a good state to remember to tune into the heart and move from there. It's an even deeper level of this gliding through life, I would say, because you tune into the heart and Now the actions and the speech and even the way that events of life arrange themselves, they happen in a more harmonious way. And the gliding through life, the harmony just compounds and multiplies, and it's so fruitful. Think about how rabbits, they make a ton of babies all at once, right? So as this multiplication, this abundance factor, just starts to radiate and spread, and you realize that the harmony within the objective domain or reality of life comes from the harmony within the subjective realm of life, which is the heart, which is the soul. And so you realize the lesson is to always tune into soul, tune into the heart, tune into the soul, which is the master. That's what we learned from the dog Trecana too, that the soul, the heart is the authority, because that is where the inner truth is. And by tuning into the heart and surrendering, I should say surrendering to the heart, being honest with yourself at the heart level, and asking yourself in your heart if this is the right thing to do or not, this is the right bar to go to or not, even if it may sound trivial or silly, but to simply tune in more and more into the heart. And it's like taking yourself with you wherever you go, making your heart a consultant or companion in every step of life, and not just leaving it behind. Like, you have a heart for a reason. And the harmony that will spread and multiply from doing this sort of practice is just surely magical, and it will multiply itself in one's energy field, in one's objective and even subjective realms of life, and in the feeling of one's own presence. There's just so many ways that this bears fruit. Rabbit energy is also about the ripening of things, the fruitfulness of things, and how that all emerges from this multiplication of the patterns of harmony, and how it's really just the heart is the seed for it all, and it multiplies from there and spreads from there, it just radiates from there, and that is a beautiful end to the Tzolkin cycle. And then you come back to Crocodile again, and things become anew. It's almost like the prosperity and abundance, and this multiple. I don't know. Rabbit just sounds like an orgasm at this point, and Crocodile just sets in, and there really is no beginning or end to the Tzolk'in cycle. It's just a continuous reel of romantic, blissful existence and the different expressions of consciousness, energy, and it's just so wonderful. I hope you enjoyed listening to this and understanding, or getting just hearing how I've experienced the energies of the Trecanas and how beautiful they are, and all the beautiful things that I've learned and gained. Right? There's just so much wisdom that is just saturating and permeating through this world that is just here and available. And I love the Mayan calendar for helping to, point our attention to what is already here and now and available, and the beautiful cycles of, the Tzolk'in. So that is that. I am now really tired of talking and I want to go to bed. Hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a comment down below, like, subscribe, all of that, please. You can also book a reading with me with the links below, and have a good day or night. Ciao.